In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to find the perfect sensitivity for you in chapter 3. In this video, I'm going to be covering common mistakes many people make when choosing their sensitivity, and I'll also be given some tips and templates that will help you find your perfect settings. And just before I get into the video, I'd really appreciate if you use code NEROFN in the Fortnite item shop. And with all that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is a common mistake a lot of people make. This is people copying their favourite pro player's settings. Although this can be good in some ways, it's mostly bad, as everyone has a different preference and there's no such thing as a perfect sensitivity. So just because a pro has a high sensitivity doesn't mean you will also be as good as them if you use their sense. Truth is that everyone has a different preference when it comes to picking sensitivities, and that's what makes it so difficult to find the perfect one. So try not to copy pro sensitivities, as it's basically copying someone else's preference. With this being said, however, you can still use pro sensitivities that you feel somewhat comfortable with and then adjust it to what you want. But a lot of the time when people use pro players settings, they find it very difficult to get used to, and then it creates a cycle of just finding more pros to copy off. So the second thing I want to cover in this video is that you want to try out a lot of different sensitivities and then adjust them until you find the one you want. I know this seems a bit obvious, but in reality, it does really help you a lot. There are some good ways of finding your sensitivity, but in my opinion the best way is just to practice different sensitivities in creative, whether that be an edit, build or aim trainer, or by just playing realistics. But a lot of people fall into the trap of changing sensitivities too much, and to be honest I was also like this as well. So basically you want to just keep on changing your sensitivity until you find one that you like, and then stick with it and try not to change it at all, as you'll then get used to it and therefore become more consistent when playing. So a lot of people when deciding their sensitivity don't really know where to start. So I made a little template so then you can see what settings you should roughly base your sensitivity around. So for the controller, you want to try and have a sensitivity of around 40% and 40% with no boosts. And for aiming, have 10% and 10%, and you can have a bit of boost if you want to, but I would recommend having no boosts for the minute. And for editing and building multipliers, you want to have it at 1.8 for builds and 2.1 for edits. And for your dead zones, you want to start them at both 16%. Then after you apply these settings, just hop into creative and adjust them until you feel comfortable. Also, a setting that you should keep in mind is linear or expo. When trying to decide between the two, linear is more fast and flicky, which results in faster builds, whereas exponential is more slowed and controlled, therefore improving your aim. So it really does depend on what you want. And I just wanted to mention, just because you're on linear doesn't mean you have bad aim, and just because you're on exponential doesn't mean you have bad edits and builds. So you want to have an 800 DPI with an X and Y of both 9.5%, and with your scope you want to have it at 35%, and for your ADS you also want to have it at 35%. And obviously after you've done this, hop into creative and adjust them to how you want. And when deciding your keyboard sense as well, you want to bear in mind what mouse pad you have. So the smaller the mouse pad, the faster you want your settings to be. And for a general rule of thumb, you want to be able to do a full 360 from one side of your mouse pad to the other. So that's the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, then consider using code NEROFN. And with all that out of the way, I'll see you in the next one.